It is 5:20 on December 10th. This is a meeting of the Law and Ordinance Committee. On my right is Mr. Sievert, on my left is Mr. Phillips, and we are here to discuss two items. Mr. Titterington, will you be discussing?
Davis. Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis. We're going to start with the DRO.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Earlier this year, the city established the DRO, the Downtown Riverfront Overlay District, and the intent was to provide alternatives for a streamlined process for development, especially within the downtown. After going through several of those cases, staff is recommending changes to help streamline the process even more. What the proposal is regardless of the size or structures that pertain to a particular development, it would follow the same process. So each application would go through Planning Commission. The first time would be an introduction of the requested item, and then no action would be taken at that meeting. At the next meeting would be a hearing at the Planning Commission where they would actually hear and make a vote recommendation of the proposal. Then council would have 5 days to determine whether or not they wish to take action on it. If council decides no action, then the Planning Commission recommendation would become finalized. This process does allow for Planning Commission, City Council, and public input. As you know, in between the two hearings, the neighboring properties are notified of the request, so they would have a chance to speak at the Planning Commission meetings.
So this would operate similar to the less than 5 units, less than half acre, would operate on that same principle?
That's correct. That principle would apply to all developments in the DRO.
Didn't that get put in though because we were trying to slow the larger properties down?
Well, I think we did that because we wanted to make sure that council had the opportunity to review them. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I'm not trying to play semantics, but in the cover letter, it says a recommendation to City Council may be made by the Planning Commission at the second meeting. But I think in the legislation, I saw a grant here someplace, I think it says shall in the legislation. Is that correct, Mr. Kerber?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so I think how we're fixing that issue, John, my understanding is that it's then going to be mandated that they all come to City Council irrespective of size, and then we have the right to say yay or nay. So that way we're just really, we can expedite the process by still have City Council. Is that right, Grant? I don't want to misstate something, but we still then have the right to, every one of them, we're going to have the right to say, no, we want to hear more.
That's correct.
With the 5-day waiting period.
With the 5 day, yeah, we're going to have 5 days to say, hey, no, we don't agree to this, or we want to hear more.
Correct.
How much will this speed things up? Just a few weeks or?
It's about a month because you're taking away a public hearing required at the City Council level. So it's a significant amount of time for a developer.
Where it came to,
probably more than that.
Where it came to fruition, you can correct me, but when Hannah was trying to do the signs, it ended up being like an 8-week process for them because of the fashion in which we had initially drafted it. And I think that's when it came to an understanding that, hey, we need to kind of, everybody's on the same thing. Council is the ultimate decision maker, but we just need to be able to go a little bit quicker. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah, especially with the calendar, the way that falls too, when we have to notify the papers and get the 30-day notice out, and then you have scheduled council meetings, it can take up to a long time. So that's the main reason we decided to make this change.
Okay. Mr. Phillips, do you have?
No, I have nothing.
Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions? How do you feel?
Proceed as staff has recommended here.
Yeah, I have no problem. I think it's a good
Let's
correction.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Next item.
Jim Daniel.
Good evening. This project is a proposed expansion of the Conagra plant, and this would be for additional production of their meat snack products. They're proposing a $69 million addition that includes a addition to the building of almost 63,000 square feet. It would increase employment by at least 50 people. They've been very successful with the previous 2 projects that they've had come before you in the past. Those have exceeded the employment that they proposed. The plant's doing quite well and actually has won a couple of awards for productivity and even an EPA award very recently from the Ohio EPA. So it's a very good plant. Their proposal is to expand this, which would increase their production capability of a different line of product that they've bought from another company that's a little upscale from the regular Slim Jim product, but similar meat snack. There is a decision yet to be made by the corporation's headquarters in Chicago of which location to place this investment in. Obviously, we prefer the Ohio plant here in Troy, but they are looking at other ConAgra brands facilities elsewhere. So this would help with the overhead costs. And I'll also stress that existing taxes continue to be paid at ConAgra in spite of previous enterprise zone agreements. And of course, this one will not affect existing taxes. Those will continue to be paid.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Seaver, do you have any questions?
No, I assume you're doing everything within our power to make us the most competitive choice for ConAgra.
This is part of it. Also, our water and sewage treatment systems help quite a bit because obviously food production, quality of water is very important, and cleanliness of the plant, well, as the EPA noticed, is very important. So Troy does have an edge.
Mr. Phillips?
Thank you. Very happy to see Mr. Irwin in attendance from ConAgra here this afternoon also. And he and I had a conversation here about a month ago about ConAgra's potential improvements and investment in the community. I think this is outstanding. It shows the number one driving force of our mandate is economic development citywide and that sort of thing that falls into that scope, and it speaks very highly for what we do here in the city and the business's belief in us. I don't have any questions about the material that's provided. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have any questions? Mr. Phillips?
Proceed, please.
Mr. Seaver?
I'm all for it.
Let's put
Emergency.
another tool in the toolbox, and
With emergency legislation?
emergency is fine.
Okay, yes.
Anything else to come?
No, sir.
We are adjourned.